I'm doing great. Yeah. Yeah. Feeling way better. I just got my voice back. My voice was really gravelly. I had a really bad throat. But feeling better. It didn't really affect my grind though. I was actually grinding and playing pretty well while I was sick. Uh got to Diamond 3 for the first time this week. Uh kind of off and on with the wins loses. It's kind of like it's never just like repetitive or consistent. It's usually like couple wins, couple losses, kind of like that. Can you guys hear King? Weird. Oh man, I hate when this happens because I don't know how to stall. It's like I just sit here awkwardly. My mom like actually paid for me to have speaking lessons. Like it was this thing called Speak Squad. Like they taught you how to like talk in front of a crowd and how to like a consistent conversation. I failed. I failed so badly. Like, I still don't know how to like actually just like sit down and have a conversation or just talk about something without rambling on or just like not knowing what to say. It's weird. Oh no. Yeah. Uh, I'm not funny. I don't have any jokes. Like, I really don't. I really don't. That's really how they're doing. How you doing? How's everyone doing? I've never actually done this before. I've only ever been a guest. Oh, we
Testing.
haven't started talking about any, or I think in one of the past videos we did, we talked about meta stuff. The meta has changed.
I think I think I've got it fixed. I think I got it fixed.
Can you guys hear King?
Can you guys hear me? Testing, testing. So I think what had happened. I'm in here in spirit right now. Thanks, Preston. Thanks for being here. Can someone answer me? Gosh.
Can anybody hear King?
Yes.
Yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So.
Already on the
All right, I'll
great.
tell you. I'll tell you the exact story. So I was trying to mess around with a soundboard on my computer, and I was messing with the settings and all that stuff. And I think I just screwed something up to where it couldn't pick up my microphone. Luckily, I still want pants off, both of you. No, my pants are still on. They're
Don't do
staying
that.
on.
Don't do that here.
So let's restart the string. Bring it back. Boop, 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 boop. Archer, me, you, today. Justin couldn't be here. Unfortunately, Asmo couldn't be here. The plan was going to be today to run down this week in Reddit, and we had an opportunity to interview and bring on some pro players from Team Suzaku, and hopefully we can get them next week. They weren't able to this week because they're attending a live tournament. So next week we shall hopefully have them on. But this week in Reddit, a lot of people were talking. Well, I don't want to say a lot of people. Some people were talking about how the stream felt rambly last time. Luckily, we had some technical difficulties this time to make up for the rambliness last time. And no one's going to want to watch this anyway. So I wanted to go down a set theme, which would be this week in Reddit. And what it is I went on and I just pulled questions or general discussions that had been had that I thought were pretty good discussions or topics. And what we'll do is I'll go down and I will read the Reddit posts for our audio listeners so they can hear it, and then we'll just discuss what we think about it. If anybody wants to join in, hop in Discord. You're more than welcome to. Archer, do you have anything to say before we begin?
Not really. I'm ready to jump into these posts and answer some questions and
All right.
the whole enchilada.
All right. So this was the player database. This comes from Sniff Sniff Coke. It was 14 days ago. I actually started this project like 2 weeks ago, but I forgot about it, to be honest. So Wild Rift player database, guys, most of the players in Wild Rift are mobile gamers who are playing other mobile games, or they are players who are playing League of Legends PC for fun. What do you believe? And so basically what this is someone did a poll of whether people were coming over from other games that were mobile games or they were coming over from League PC. I voted I'm a LoL PC player who then tried Wild Rift, but it's pretty interesting that we have more people coming over from mobile games. You probably can't see it, can you, Archer?
Yeah, I can see it on the stream.
So there's 501 people that came over from other games. Yep, yeah. And 480 on the other one. How do you feel about that?
I think it's accurate. One of the things I think Riot failed to do was advertise Wild Rift, because I didn't hear about it until like a year or so after it was released. Like, it had already been out for quite a while, and had I known before, had I seen advertisements, I probably would have jumped on and played it, because I had been looking for a MOBA to play, because I got back into Heroes of the Storm in 2014. That was my introduction to MOBAs. I've been playing ever since, but it's so hard to find a time to actually sit down and play that I was like, there has to be a MOBA that I can sit down, play for like 15 to 20 minutes. That's fun. And I tried a ton, but didn't like any of them. And so I didn't hear about it because there was really no advertisement, because I think Riot felt like they were a big enough company and that League of Legends was already well known enough that they probably thought they just had to release it, and then those League players would come to Wild Rift, and then it wouldn't, they'd create tension from that and to get other people. But I don't think that works, because if you commit so much time to something, you're going to want to stick to that. So that's why I don't think a lot of League players actually are coming over to Wild Rift. I think it's just the mobile players who are already aware of mobile MOBAs like Mobile Legends or Arena of Valor or Vainglory and stuff like that, who saw it and were like, hey, I need to give this a shot. And it is a better game than most mobile MOBAs. And so it did do well attracting that crowd, but not so much the PC crowd.
I agree with you for the most part. I think one of the biggest problems is they still haven't really broadcasted it or advertised it. I didn't actually know the game was out until I came across something on Reddit, and then I was like, oh crap, I forgot all about this game. So yeah.
A friend of mine was playing it one time when he came over. We were hanging out. And like we were just doing stuff, and like he just took out his phone and started playing it, and like showed it to me, and I was like, I didn't even know that existed. So
Yeah,
then I got it and started playing it.
and I will say it is by far because I played Arena of Valor, I played Mobile Legends Bang Bang, I played some other Pokemon Unite and all other different MOBAs,
Yeah.
and Wild Rift
I like
is
that. I love that look of disgust you had when you said Pokemon Unite.
look the game. It was bad. It wasn't good.
I'm not gonna lie. I sit down every now and then to play it when I have like a really bad lose streak on Wild Rift, just because it's so easy. Like players in that game are so clueless, and I can just get in and just win like 20 matches in a row and just be happy.
Hey, that's fair. I couldn't. So if I have extra time, I'm definitely playing Wild Rift, and I think it's one of the best, if not the best, mobile MOBA. Period. AOV is
Yeah,
good, but it's not nearly as in depth as Wild Rift. It's just not. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
yeah, I agree.
So moving on from there, jungle role boring. Does the jungle role feel boring from goddamn your TR? I usually play the jungle role, but I found out it gets pretty boring after a while. The reason is that there's a handful of jungle characters compared to the other roles, which have multiple characters. I would have thought Riot would add more jungle characters in this patch, but they did not. I'm very disappointed. I agree. I really want to see more jungle characters, especially AP
Me
jungle
too.
characters.
Yeah, I don't see because if you because when you bring in stuff like meta as well, like yeah, there's a large-ish pool. Like, there's a good amount of jungle characters to choose from, but not all of them. Probably only half of them are actually good picks at the moment. The other half are like champions like Rengar. They don't get picked often because they're not as reliable and they're not as consistent as someone like Evelyn or Yi or Lee Sin, who are always they're really good junglers all the time, or someone like Morgana, who you might get a win once, but then the rest of the matches it's super difficult and you're getting losses because she's not a very consistent jungler.
I agree. And like you said, Rengar, when you start talking about like ease of execution, there's a reason that Nunu's picked all the time. Rengar is a difficult champion. You have to know when to go in, when you can, because once you go in, you're all the way in. There's no Kha'Zix jumping in, killing somebody, jumping out. So
Yeah,
Rengar is definitely a play style that you have to learn. Did you guys see the Nautilus teaser? I did not.
it did not.
I did not.
I know it's confirmed. I didn't realize they are actually teasing it.
It's gonna be dope. I like Nautilus. He's such a good champion. So much crowd control. I used to play him a lot in mid lane. Kind of like the before doing B really made it popular. He's got some pretty good ratios. Lots of crowd control. I definitely see him being an S tier upon release.
Because that's what Wild Rift needs is more crowd control. Seems like every champion in the game has some sort of crowd control.
It's ridiculous. You get hit by a Lux Nair followed by TF blue card, and it's just you're dead before you can even breathe. Even if
Yeah.
you're playing Tryndamere.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, this one is an in-depth jungling guide. I'm not actually going to go into this one. I just wanted people to see this one. I think this is from a Riot person himself, Tekshi, but it's their philosophy for jungling in-depth guide. Really
Yeah, I read through
in-depth.
that. It's pretty useful. Like that's stuff that I tell people all the time when they're trying to learn like the basics and stuff.
Yeah, he went in really in depth on it, and like he deserves a shout out for this. So if anybody is looking at this podcast and wanting to know how to jungle or looking on Reddit, that's a great place to start. While we're talking about jungles, we'll skip tier lists and we'll go to gold value for jungle camps. I thought this was pretty interesting. the gold value for jungle monsters and minions by Lucky Owl 2002. I've been wanting all the gold values for bosses and minions, so I went ahead and compiled it. Here it is for anyone who else wants to know. It's missing a couple values like lane minions and etc. etc. Minion gold values: melee is 65, casters 40, cannon is 85. Minion gold value, no CS, is 26, 16, 34. So that's a huge difference if you last hit versus don't last hit.
Yeah.
Minion gold values: taxing your teammates' lane and stealing their CS, 48, 30, 63. This is what I really wanted to look at, was the jungle. The Krug's full clear was 216, large Krug 72, medium Krug 24, small Krug 12. This guy went really in depth in on this. So shout out to him, and I'm not going to read all of this, but you can definitely check it out. Gold values for jungle monsters.
There's a lot. There's values for turrets.
Yep.
All the different turrets, all the different bosses like Rift Herald and Drakes and stuff like that. It's really in depth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you read it because I linked it to you, and you're like, you were talking about
Just
it.
pulled it up on Google Docs right now.
You were talking about how you were always going to prioritize Rift Herald after seeing the this post, right? I think you said that.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Because Rift Herald's 250 gold.
Yep, 250.
And then a dragon is 100 gold only to the last hitter. So only the one who hits it last. So whoever smites it or whoever last hits it, it's 100 gold.
I wonder if the Rift Herald is team-wide or if they just didn't include the person the last hit.
I don't know. All it says here is 250 gold. He was really specific about the dragons, and so I think it might be team-wide.
Yeah, that
Then
makes sense.
also you gotta add the gold you get from first turret, because you get you get Rift Herald, and most of the time you can get first turret with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why
A lot of gold.
that's why I used to prioritize Rift Herald over that. Hey, Preston, what's up, man?
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
It's going all right.
How's your grind going?
It's going all right. I really took a break.
Good. Work's kicking your butt, huh? Those 12-hour days.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What did you want to talk about tonight, Preston?
I don't know. I was really just going to chime in on what y'all were talking about.
Hey, sounds good. Appreciate you coming on, and we're going to move on to the jungle ganks. There's a lot of jungle stuff in this Reddit thread thing.
I like it. It keeps everything into a topic and not all over the place.
Exactly. PSA for lane. This is by Apprehensive Win 1230. PSA for lanes that want jungle ganks. When your jungler's on your side of the map and you want to gank, don't push into the enemy turret. Your jungler cannot gank if the enemy is sitting on full HP under their turret unless you go in and take turret aggro without generally having a losing trade. So if you want ganks, let the minion wave come back to your own turret. If you can't do this, don't cry and flame at the jungler for not wanting to waste their time trying to gank. I agree completely.
I cannot emphasize how correct this is. I hate when laners do this, and then I have to get flamed for not ganking, and especially when they do it, and then the enemy jungle ganks them and gets a double kill, because then it's like, it was obvious what was gonna happen. Like, let the wave come into you. I can gank, dude. There's so many things to do other than just pushing in.
Exactly, and it's a high elo strategy if you really think about it, because you have to worry about wave management. So if you know your jungler's clearing top down, and you're playing AD carry, you don't want to shove the wave in because you want to have that lane be accessible to your jungler to gank them. So that means when he's on the bottom side of the map, you need to be pushed in so that the enemy overextends past river and then becomes susceptible. They become at risk for a gank. I can't say that word tonight. So,
Yeah.
what do you think, Preston?
Yeah, it's absolutely true, and I feel like it's common sense, but I guess that's just because I've been playing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I absolutely hate it when somebody's like, "Jungle's not ganking," and it's like, I have no room to gank, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's
It's
that's.
nobody.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, nobody considers space in Wild Rift. When I look at a map, I see that I see areas and sections. So like when I take mid lane, if I'm playing mid, the spot in front of my turret, I know, okay, this is safe. If I'm standing here, I'm safe. If I go out, if I'm standing towards the middle, this is less safe. I can still hit minions. I'm still in a good area. This is good. But then this is no. And then this is off limits. That I don't want to be here. But nobody thinks of that. They think, oh, I have all this space. This is cool. I have all this to work with. But really, you have like this little section. And right there, if you're in your safe spot, that's where you want to be when your jungle comes to gank. Because then if you're there, that means your enemy is pushed up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the danger zone. They're in the no-go zone. And your jungler can come in, and that's it. It's a free kill. But people think, okay, I have this space. I can just do whatever I want in here, and if my jungle comes, we can get a kill. But that's not how it works.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing on that though is, typically you're only going to have vision on one side, so whatever side you have vision on, your safe zone extends out a little bit on that side. You can be relatively safe moving up towards the side that you have warded, because you can see an enemy jungler coming, and you're also on the opposite side, so where you can't see the enemy jungler coming, you have time to react.
Exactly. And then that's another thing. Nobody wards properly. And so that kind of gets thrown out of the window. And so there's really nowhere to move around, nowhere to get a successful gank, because they're not warding properly. They're not taking in consideration space, and also they're not considering where their jungle actually is. There's so many times where I'm top lane clearing out, doing a full blue clear, so I can get level 5 in the beginning of the game, and my ADC is complaining like, "Jungle, why didn't you gank?" And I'm like, I'm on the other side of the map. There's nothing I can do.
Dio says, number one rule for jungle to me is find the win condition and gank that lane. Everybody else will get a gank if the enemy is overextended, and never gank when a teammate is losing. And that's absolutely correct. You never gank a losing lane because you're just the enemy junglers. That's the time. You haven't seen the enemy jungler all game. It's been 18 minutes, and you're about to gank the side lane, and that's when they show up. That is when they will be there, and you will lose because it's a 2-on-2.
Yeah.
At least if you're me, because that's my luck.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you, Dio.
Using this teams, it's like that saying, a team is only as good as their weakest link. And so if you find whoever isn't doing well, and you just continuously bully them and get kills on them and gank them, then the entire team is going to collapse.
I mean, unless, of course, they're like your teammate that's in their lane is just so completely controlling them that there's no need to even go there.
Yeah.
It's kind
of like...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The thing about that, though, is it's kind of like containing a fire. If it gets out, like, if they make one wrong move, it's going to spread everywhere, and it's just going to, like, destroy everything in its path. And so, don't gank if you don't need to, but if you find an opportunity to do it, like if you're there and they're pushed in and they're low health, do it. Yeah. If you know where the jungler is too, that's even better, because you can do it without worrying about the jungler. But it's kind of like keeping it under watch, because you want to continuously like look at everything and make sure everything is in your control. Because if you let someone else control something and you put your faith in them, sometimes they're gonna fail, and you're not gonna be able to pick up their mistake and fix it. And then that could make the enemy team snowball, and then next thing you know, you're doing great, and then you lose because your team just couldn't contain the fire.
Absolutely. You
Right.
can't really trust anybody else except yourself, and sometimes you really can't trust yourself. It depends on really how you're playing that game. You might be having a great game, you might be having a bad game. I tend to, we played the other night, and I ended up jungling quite a bit, and like I played Lee Sin and did really well, but I had good teammates to be able to facilitate me to be able to gank and open up the map. Whereas if I'm playing solo queue and I'm jungling, I'm playing a Nunu, I'm playing a Jarvan, something that can just tank, engage, and really focus on objective control.
Yeah.
Yeah, another side of, bullying the weakest link is the psychological effect it has on the enemy team. If you're just doing solo queue, odds are everybody else on the enemy team is doing solo queue. So you've got this 0-5 Ziggs in the mid lane, and they just start flaming him. He starts flaming them. Somebody goes AFK, and I mean, it's an easy win.
Just throw a couple question marks in the chat, like, what are you doing, man? It pisses them off so much.
Yeah.
Moving on from that topic, it was a good topic, good discussion. Opinions on tier list, and this is from King Cobra 798. It says, what are your guys' opinions on tier lists and tier list videos? For me, I find tier list really dumb and unhelpful because I feel like you should be able to play anyone you want, no matter how good or bad they are. For me, I think it is helpful because tier lists are indicative of what the meta is, and anyone that wants to climb, just abuse the meta, really. Like, if you wanted to climb jungle when Master Yi was broken, every time Master Yi you had a chance to play him, you should have played him. That's my feeling on it. Granted, you can do it the hard way, but if you really want to climb fast, just abuse the meta. What do you guys think about tier list?
I
agree.
I-
Let's go with Presser first.
Something that I think it was Justin said, because the same question was asked to him, and he said that the tier list really doesn't start mattering until you get to the higher elos, like Diamond, like halfway through Diamond, and that's because if you are good enough, it doesn't matter if you're playing meta because you're playing a champion that you're comfortable with, and you can. The enemy team is just so bad that you can take advantage of it. But once you start getting into the higher tiers, everybody's, tightened down on their mistakes. That's when abusing the meta really comes into effect because you need that extra leg up to really get the advantage to pry open the win,
Yep.
Yeah.
Archer, what do you think, man? How do you feel about tier lists and tier lists?
I agree with both. Like, I do believe it's useful, but only in the higher metas. Because when I was playing like all kinds of stuff. That when I was low elo, I was pretty much playing everything I could, trying to learn everything about the game, and I was winning and I was going up. And then once I got to the higher levels, like platinum up, I started realizing there's certain champions that I can't play because they're just not meta, and a lot of the meta champions that people are like constantly picking are counters to them. And so as you go up, start watching tier videos and stuff like that. Like, as much as I don't like watching Hells or Darkbreaker just because I find them kind of annoying, I'll watch their tier videos like all the way through to see what they think is S tier, what they think is A tier, what they think is good, because I want to take in consideration what they know, because they know the meta. Like, these players are challenger players who know what they're seeing it firsthand, like what all the best players are picking, what is the best to climb with. And I always watch those and I take that in consideration and think, all right, what if I play this, what's going to happen? If I play this, what's going to happen? And then on top of that, you actually have to take in consideration counter picks, because there's going to be a lot of people who just see like, oh, this champion is S tier, I'm going to pick them, and easily you can just go, all right, what's that champion's counter? Who gets picked top lane the most? And I can prepare to face that person. And so it's good to know, but it's not essential.
Yeti brings up a really good point. He said tier lists are only annoying because there's no data backing up actual spots the champions are put in.
True.
for me, like, we don't have any. Like, when I do videos, I pull information from League PC because we have no information from Wild Rift because there's no API. We aren't allowed to know the matchup data between champions and all that good stuff. So there is no real statistical data to be able to back that up. However, to critique the videos themselves, they're the same video you've seen. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same video over and over again. You can, from gacha games to RPGs to NFL games, or stuff like this. It's the same tier list over and over again. It's the same information. And with Wild Rift, the meta doesn't change that drastically. There's not huge rebalancings. So therefore, it's kind of just rehashing the same video. I think it's kind of a cheaper way to get clicks and views.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing that I wanted. Another thing that I wanted to add on the topic of like meta and like abusing it and like the strategies that I'm sure like the pro players and their coaches come up with is leaving an S tier open, knowing that one of the players on their team plays the counter and they play it really well. So you kind of bait the enemy team into picking that, and then you go ahead and counter it. Like,
were you finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, I didn't know if we lost you or what. Dio says the best way to climb is to one trick. Tier list is just a ban suggestion. That's fair. What are your thoughts on Graves right now?
I've never played Graves.
I think he's a great top laner.
Yeah, I've seen him go crazy in the jungle, and I actually like him, but I don't like when people don't read the team and realize, that we've got 5 people who are at most going to have, 3,000 health at the late game, and so we're just going to get steamrolled by the other team.
Yeah.
See, I think he's going to go one of two ways. He's either going to be a ticking time bomb to where he's hitting everything in late game, or it typically goes the way that I play with him, and I really don't feel like I do too much pressure or damage with him. I think he's great at clearing the jungle. He's got a really healthy clear, but even comboing, I just still don't feel like he is very strong when I play him. I know other people are finding great success on him. It's just I don't think that style of champion in jungle meshes with me.
Yeah, I mean it's all dependent. There's so many variables that go into it, but typically it just depends on who's playing him, on whether or not he's worth anything. Same with any champion though.
Sorry, I'm just going to the next section. This is from Had to Pick a Name. Huge quality of life changes for inexperienced players adding champion info to the lobby. It says, I played League a few years ago and have since gotten into Wild Rift, and admittedly there are a lot of champions to learn and know. I found ARAM is great to start off learning some champions I've never tried besides practice mode. This comes with a hindrance, however, as sometimes I'll sit around at the start just reading what the champion does. There should be a way to view champion passive abilities during a lobby. If my teammate picks Master Yi and I've never seen Master Yi, LMAO, yeah, right, I would like to be able to click on him and see his abilities before game. Like, how is he going to straight line so fast? Is it Nikes? Does he have eyes like a fly under that helmet? How is there such imbalance when one game there is a 0-10 Yi and another game has a quadra and 2 triple kills? Or maybe that is the balance? We may never know. A lot of champions on the surface are simply to understand without knowing what they do in depth, but it's learning that in depth that allows you to go further beyond and become Super Saiyan item shopper that doesn't buy a million armor into 3 true damaged champions. Anyway, I think we should really improve the new player experience, as Wild Rift is only going to continue to grow, and people who have never touched League will be pretty lost on certain aspects. That's a lot to read. I can't read. What do you think, Archer?
I'm still kind of trying to like process what he means. Like, I get what he means. Like, there should be a way you could see other people's abilities during lobby. But like, I don't mind that because I'm already spending time reading through champions before I even jump into the game, just to know matchups and stuff like that. I think it just takes time because you can see champion abilities, you can see what everybody does, like just from champion, just from like the collection. And so I don't think it's really needed to be added. I do think they should add base stats because that's one thing that has always bugged me. I can't see my champion's base stats unless I'm in a game.
Do we disconnect?
Because like if I want to, it's like if I want to know like, oh, I'm up against a Graves, like what's his base damage? What does he do? I can't know that unless I've played him before or I go on to Google and look it up.
I will say I don't think Riot needs to make the game any easier. Personally, I think it should reward people like Archer who is putting in that information, putting in that time out externally to grind out that knowledge and that information to better yourself as a player. Why lower the quality of player or the server just because you want to be more casual friendly? What do you think, Preston?
Yeah, I agree with you because they would have to completely rework the UI and like the setup and everything, and there's just too much. They're not going to do that. Another thing is that you may read what a skill does, but until you've seen it, you don't know exactly what it does, how it's used, when it can be used, and
Yeah.
that's just part of the learning curve of League is getting used to all the different champions and getting a feel for them and eventually getting to know them intimately. And that's part of what keeps people from climbing, is that they just don't have enough experience in the game yet. And I don't think being able to read their skills in the lobby is going to change that. Like
100%. 100%. What are your thoughts on Jace Jungle?
I've never played Jace before.
Really? I think you'd like him.
I personally don't think much of it because you're basically just running an assassin. It's like trying to run Katarina jungle. Like, yeah, it's cool if you're, able to snowball, but if you don't, you're just a dead weight to your team.
Yeah.
Let's see. Moving on from that, this comes from a Golden Fool. It's your oddest newbie beliefs on the game. So this is for like the people who are new to the game. What brought you in, or what misconceptions did you have from coming in? This says, when I had just downloaded the game, I was so very sure that the little wings around a champion level given by Guardian Angel were like little reward for playing well. I was certain that they were to communicate to everybody that player was going to be the MVP of the game. I even had theories whenever there were two or more GAs. Oh, Pantheon and Lee Sin are competing to be MVP. How cool. Oh, Lee Sin just died. He doesn't have the little wings anymore, so I guess it's going to be Pantheon, huh? I speculated so much about it that it was kind of disappointing when I found out that GA was lol, I guess. I watched too many movies. I don't know. But what were your newbie beliefs on the game?
Man, that was so long ago. I can't even think about it right now.
I will say one thing that really got me, I didn't realize for a while, and I just didn't notice. In Heroes of the Storm, the XP is shared, and so if I kill a minion, my entire team, it's the XP and me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter where they are on the map. And so the whole strategy of that game is you'd have one person in a lane just farming, leveling up the entire team. And so when I came into Wild Rift, I thought it was the same thing because I had never played any other MOBAs and stuff other than like Mobile Legends, but like for a day. And so I didn't realize. And so I got into support, and I was always last hitting minions and killing minions. And everyone would get mad at me. I'd be like, "Why are you getting mad at me? I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do." And then I realized they're not getting XP, and I'm leveling up fast to them. And it took so long for me to realize that. And so that was my newbie belief. I thought XP was shared.
Dio says his newbie belief is that he would be challenger by now. This person, Artistocrastic Reap, says, I used to think that wards were honey fruit, so I always placed them where the fruit spawns. Started in S2 on PC, and I remember not buying items by their parts, but just straight up saving the full price for the item.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah.
So I can't remember because it's been 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too. I'd say the biggest one. Oh, go ahead.
You go.
Okay, I'd say the biggest one, and the one that plagues most people that haven't climbed higher, is the belief that your team is what's holding you back from climbing.
Yeah.
That's a big misconception in the lower elos because I recently just made a Smurf and I'm having no trouble climbing, and it's because I'm a better player. Hold on. Yeah, I'm a better player than everybody, so everybody in that elo. So it's not an issue if my team's feeding because I can just carry.
Yeah, you can definitely see the difference, and I hate when people are just like, my teammates, because sometimes it is valid. Sometimes it's 100% valid. You can't control your teammates, but did you play your best in that game? If so, you should feel great about yourself and your own performance, even though you didn't win. But your team doesn't hold you back. It's your own mentality and mindset. And to use somebody as an example, you and Archer know who I'm talking about, but we have a professional player in our Discord server. This person was not listening that like, hey, you're the teammate, you're the issue here. It's your mentality. And even when the pro player was like, hey, it's your own fault, kind of, in that, to sum it up, guy still did not want to listen to that. So it just goes to show you how ingrained that mentality is through all elos.
Yeah, and
because
I mean,
people don't want to continue.
I was just gonna say, I mean, and that's just psychology in general. People typically don't want to accept responsibility for the direction of things. Like it's called in the difference is the internal locus of control versus the external locus of control. An external locus of control are people who have that are constantly looking outside themselves for the reasons why things are going wrong. Whereas people who have an internal locus of control focus on what they're doing wrong and how they can change the way things are.
Do you think that applies with like the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people think that they're better than they actually are?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
I can admit, I think I'm better than I actually am. Just because I think everybody kind of has that at some degree. Because like, I look through my win rates, I look through like my match history, and I'll be like, I'm actually not that good. But it's like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I know that I'm better than what I play at because a lot of times, like, I get lazy or I'm just not in the right headspace, and so I'm not doing everything that I can to play to my full potential. But like, I don't think I'm a challenger or anything.
I think like it definitely comes down to the mentality and mindset. I'm gonna use Thunder as an example, because he's like one of the first people that I ever coached. And he came to me with the mindset of there was something wrong that he needed to fix, and it was about his playstyle. And look at him now. The man is in, or the guy, man, whatever, is an amazing Kha'Zix player. And he definitely.
He's my favorite Kha'Zix player.
I
ever.
agree. I agree.
Love playing with him.
And just being able to watch him grow from where he was stuck to where he is now has been phenomenal to watch. That I tear up thinking about it, to be honest. Just that mentality. He said, "There's something wrong with my gameplay. Can you help me fix it?" And I just gave him some pointers or gave him some feedback, and he fixed it all on his own. So he put in the work, not really me, per se. So
Yeah, you got to be a very humble person.
yeah, you definitely have to be a humble person. None of the pros are sitting there like, it's your fault, it's your fault. Maybe Double Lift, but Bjergsen's like, what can I do to facilitate my team to be better? What can I do to be better for my team?
Right.
Dio says
That's one of the reasons.
Oh, go ahead.
That's why I hate watching Hells, because whenever he does his tutorials and he dies in a video or something, he'll always be like, oh, I shouldn't have died there because my teammates are doing this and this and this, and that's why I died. And it sucks because it's like anyone with in their right mind can be like, okay, but you had bad positioning, you did this, you didn't have to die because you'd be doing what you were doing in that moment, but you did. You made the mistake. But he never he's like, and that's one of the reasons why it's such a trap. I hate watching him, and I hate knowing that people base their entire playstyle off of his videos, because there's so many stuff that he says that isn't true, and he's always blaming his teammates. He's always saying like, oh, I made the right play, but my teammates didn't pull through. And it sucks because then there's people who watch his videos and think, okay, I'm going to do stuff that he does, and then they make bad plays and then blame their teammate because that's what he does.
I like Christian, or Hells. I think he's a good guy. I think
he's good. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty good guy.
He's pretty cool, but yeah.
I don't watch his videos, not for the fact that I don't think they're good, or I think when I do watch his videos, I appreciate his showmanship and his ability to communicate with his audience that isn't there in front of him. It's difficult to do. That's something I really have to.
Great quality.
Yeah, it's hard to do. It's something that I had to learn how to do as well. But where was I going with this? Don't remember. Okay. But yeah, shout out Hells. Archer hates you, but I love you, man.
No disrespect. I mean, I learned to play the game. When I first started playing the game, I watched his videos, and that's how I learned. But then I stopped after I started growing more, because I noticed less and less how it was becoming more hurtful than it was useful.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
I mean, it's still pretty useful information.
Shout out to Hazel Lol. He is a coach for a Danish team in PC League, and he's the one that really helped me when I said, hey, I want to learn how to do this. Can you teach me how to do this? He's the one that really kind of pulled me under his wing, I suppose, and said, taught me. He taught me how to coach people, and a lot of the stuff I figured out. So I'd say he's kind of like a mentor in that sense. But when I play with you guys, if I screw up, it's because I screwed up. If I die, I shouldn't have been where I was, unless I'm sacrificing myself to save a teammate, or I'm sacrificing myself to get a nasty engage play or something like that. I should not be where I'm at that moment where I got caught out and died. That's all on me, 100% on me. And playing last night with Yami and Aliko, I ended up playing like trash. and that was 100% me. Luckily, they carried me, but that was all me playing bad. It wasn't my teammates.
Yeah, and there's always a time, like every time I die, like I start to get frustrated, and then I realize, like, that was I just made the wrong play, whether it was, I was too far upriver, or whatever it is. Like, it's usually typically an issue with what I did. There are times when two people on your team have given, a collective 20 kills, and so everybody's just fed, and there's not much you can do. But I've learned to stop being frustrated at that so much.
Yeah.
In regards to me, I'm so frustrated with them for dying, 10 times each, and it's not even 12 minutes yet. But like, whenever I do my best to kill one of the players that are fed and I lose, like, I can't be mad about that because they're 8 kills ahead of me.
Yeah, I mean, you can only do what you can do, control what you can, and leave the rest to God, is what they say. Um, Moving on, this is from Department of Cynicism. We should all start flaming mid laners instead of junglers. Joking. Junglers tend to get a lot of flame over a lot of things, while the mid laners get away with playing like chimps and not even getting a single comment. Imagine having a 4-0 lead in mid and just not warding, pinging, and letting your opponent roam freely towards the side lanes just to have your jungler take the blame. Imagine going 0-3 in 5 minutes and you yell jungle diff while overextending into certain death again. Imagine destroying your opponent, taking tower, and not roaming to tunnel on, killing someone again for a mere 100 gold while your side lanes die and the poor jungler once again takes the blame. It's sad. Please be a good person. Be the change we need. How do you guys feel about flaming mid laners instead of junglers?
Well,
I agree. As a mid laner, I agree. Because there's nothing, because there's times where I'll make a mistake and I'll be like, oh, I should have roamed here, I should have done this, I shouldn't have done this. But the jungler will get blamed for it, and I'll have to step in like, hey, no, that was my mistake. The jungler had nothing to do with that. I'll take the blame. Nobody wants to do that. They just want to do whatever they want, and they get away with it because nobody says anything about it.
yeah, as a mid main, I don't know how I feel about getting flamed more, but I'm pretty good about letting people know that my enemy laner's missing, and even telling them which direction they're headed. But a lot of times, like, because if they die, they get mad at me because I didn't follow. But at the same time, you should see that I'm not following because I'm trying to push the lane in and go back to buy my items, and you shouldn't have been under their tower. Like,
if a Fizz is rotating, the best play is to shove it under the lane, because then he's going to deny farm, and if you ping your teammates to back off, he loses farm, and then he's behind. There's nothing better than putting an assassin like Fizz or Zed or Diana, who require, or they what's the word? They don't need it, but they benefit a lot from roams. And if you're denying them farm and denying them a good roam, then that's better than just following them into certain death.
sadly, it seems like they never get denied the roam because, like I said, I'll ping, missing, and I'll ping danger bot lane or whatever, and they'll just keep fighting, in the middle of the lane, and then sure enough, they show up and get a double kill, and they get mad at me for not following, but at the same time, it's like, you had ample warning, you should have just went under turret.
I agree. Dia, what's up, man? Let me turn you up.
Sorry about that. Mic's a little low, I guess.
Yep, I'm gonna put you up to 170. See how that goes. What's up, man? What did you want to talk about tonight?
Oh, nothing, man. I just want to join the discussion. Just whatever Reddit post you guys read, I'll just put my opinion there.
Awesome. Do you think we should start flaming mid laners instead of junglers for the lack of facilitation that they do to the team?
I I think we should just 50-50 it, man. Because technically, mid lane and jungle, they're duos to me. So I kind of put them in the same boat, honestly.
Yeah, I kind of think the same
a good
way
point,
when
yeah.
I play mid.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I just think it all depends on the situation. Like definitely if you're mid and your enemy laner roams and you don't say anything about it and you don't follow or anything, like yeah, it's definitely your fault and you should be blamed for it. But it all just depends, I feel.
I will say a quick "my bad" in chat changes the world.
Oh,
But yeah, no, I didn't think
That's-
about that until you said it right there, because they're kind of, when you think of the professional teams in League PC, you kind of build your synergy between the jungler and the mid laner, because they're the ones that need to be on the same page so that they can roam. So I could see how you could come up with that argument of them being a duo partnership. So flame them equally.
That's how me and Thunder play when we play duo queue. Like, I'm thinking when I'm making a play in mid, I'm thinking, okay, what does Thunder need me to do, and what is he about to do, so I can play onto what he's doing, so we can and make those plays mesh together into one play that eventually turns into something.
I agree. Moving on from there, this is from Arezago. It says, refusing to surrender with an AFK versus a superfed carry makes you toxic. Please enlighten yourself and accept the surrender when you're playing a 4v5 and the carry is extremely fed, especially if the AFK is one of your own carries. Let go of your ego, let go of your stubbornness, move on. The 5 extra minutes of your life that you waste in a 99% loss can be won in the 5 minutes of the next match. All you're doing is pissing off everyone that wants to end and giving yourself negative emotions. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I actually agree.
I don't.
Go ahead. Why don't you agree?
In some way I do, because there's some times where I'm in a match where I want to surrender, but my teammates are refusing to, and I get mad. And most of the time it ends with us losing. And it's like, okay, like, that could have ended 5 minutes ago. But then there's a lot of times when we're losing and I want to surrender and I want to do it so badly and I'm getting mad. Then we pull off a miracle play and we manage to win. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't surrender. I'm so glad my team refused to surrender. And so sometimes, yeah, sometimes I would like to surrender, but most of the time in the back of my mind, I'm thinking we might just pull this off. Because my philosophy is the game's not over until the Nexus is destroyed. Like that's my philosophy. Even like I surrender sometimes when I'm like, okay, this is hopeless. I don't have the mental for this. I just need to get off and take a break. But most of the time, I'm thinking, all right, we're behind. We're down to our inhibitors. We've barely taken their towers, but we might pull this off because it's happened a lot. I've had been able to pull off these miracle plays with my teammates, and so it depends on comps too, because sometimes you have a late game comp and your teammates are like trying to surrender in the early game thinking it's over, but then you outscale your opponent and then you win, and then you're thinking, oh, I'm glad I didn't surrender. And so partially, yeah, I agree, but mostly I don't.
Gosh.
I still think the game isn't over until the Nexus is destroyed.
Mr. Toxic, what do you think?
You talking to me, sir?
Yes.
Alright, here's what I think. I believe it's all about timing. If it's the first 2 minutes AFK, I would FF. I'm not gonna waste my time. But if it was late game, if it was mid to late game and someone went AFK, especially our AD carry, I don't think the AD carry is gonna carry anyway. So I'm not gonna FF. But if it's early on the game, I think it's really crucial. Like the first 5-10 minutes is very crucial to the game.
Yes.
So if someone leaves at that time, I would agree to FF. But if it was mid to late, we have an AD carry. They're not really gonna carry. You know, I'm gonna carry. So we'll see what happens. But if it's early, nah, I'm good. We can leave.
Preston, what about you, man?
I mean, I definitely agree with what he just said, but I also look at it a little differently. If somebody's somebody's AFK and we're starting to lose, and this is typically like the mid game. I won't surrender right away because I want to challenge myself and push myself to see if I can carry this 4v5. And so I kind of use it as a learning experience and a practice session to, kind of give myself a handicap and see if I can pull it off.
See,
That's nice. Test your limits.
I am all for FFing. Like, if we get first blooded, I'm ready to FF. Because clearly my team's incompetent, unless it's me, and then I'm just kind of like, my bad in chat. But
Yeah.
in all reality, if you look at like League PC the Korean scene, they're playing and they don't waste the time. They know when it's lost, they wrap it up and they move on to the next game. That's what I would like to see. If it's a guaranteed loss, not like, okay, we're scaling and we're getting stomped early because they picked a early game comp versus our scaling composition. That's different versus we have an AFK. Their Akali is 12-0 and they're just blowing up our two carries. If the game's over, if the enemy team has taken all three inhibitors, they stopped, went and got Baron, and they're pushing the base, and you don't forfeit, you're an asshole.
I agree with that.
The only time I typically refuse to surrender at that point is because somebody on the enemy team is just talking shit, and I just feel like putting them through hell.
Or on my team, if someone's on my team talking shit.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Somebody on my team.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if they're trash talking, I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm just gonna drag this out as long as I can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do when I'm in top lane against my enemy. I mean, if I'm really dominating, if I just say FF on all chat, that's already tilting them. It's over for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I already got that edge. He blew the flash in the first 30 seconds. I just say FF and he's tilted. Boom. That lane's over.
That's what I said earlier. Just throw a couple question marks in the chat. Like,
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Like they're tilted, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blame each
It's
other
like
for that.
chess.
Good.
It's a complete mind game.
Let's see.
And you know what?
Oh, go ahead.
It's crazy that it's crazy talking about that. I just realized that I never do that ever. Like, I never do that, and maybe I should start doing that.
Don't be like, you piece of shit. I hope you get cancer.
No,
But
no.
just throw up some question
Yeah.
marks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That penguin, the penguin emoji, like the questioning penguin emoji, that is the most toxic emoji in the game. When I see that, I'm like, oh, I just want to hit something,
You're just
Like I
tilted.
see that, and I'm like, don't make fun of me. I'm tilted immediately. Like if the game becomes pay to win if you buy that emoji, just hit some wild cores, buy that emoji, and it's a guaranteed win every time. You just spam that, and the enemy laner is just gonna give up.
Yami brought up a good point, and it's kind of counterpoint to mine about the Korean games. He says Korean games are solved like high-level chess. People don't make mistakes, so your loss is way more guaranteed than on other servers. Yeah, that's a very good point. So it could very well be that the enemy team just ends up throwing the whole match out. And moving on from that, shout out to BruceX. Coached him before, and he's a streamer, so check him out on Twitch. At what rank do players get a map and stop saving their ultimate for the next game? I thought this was funny. Also, when do they look at the enemy respawn timers, use vision plants on the enemy side of the map, protecting people who are pushing and aren't afraid to trade or give up objectives, asking for a friend? Never.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm low diamond, and it's still hit or miss whether or not I see that.
Yeah. Sometimes you just zone out and you forget to look at that stuff.
Dio, what rank are you?
I am Diamond 3, sir.
Diamond 3, awesome. Good job, man.
Yeah,
Same as me.
I was playing. I usually play on an iPad, and I use my fiance's iPad, and I was in a really bad losing streak, and I got dropped down from Emerald to Plat, and she was like, "If you don't get to Diamond in a week, like I'm taking the iPad away." I went from plat 1 to diamond 4, dude. Right? I think the next Saturday, I was like, oh, I made it, babe. I
So
made it.
what you're saying is she is
That's
more
hilarious.
toxic than you are.
Dude, that's probably where I got it from, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god.
I actually
That's a
got her to
good.
play the game, so like, duo couples or duos stay together,
I agree.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're marrying her because she's a real woman. She's the power behind you.
There you go. Shout out to Lauren. But yes, I would say I would agree with him in low diamond. I don't think they see the map. I don't see that map yet, honestly.
That's never my experience, right? It's never my experience where someone just who's that just came in? Lico. What's up, buddy? I never get the easy team. I never get to play against the easy team where they're just 0-10. It's always like we're clawing back victory from the jaws of defeat.
Well,
I
that
don't
makes it more
know.
fun for you, though, doesn't it? At least, I mean,
Oh, it's terrible. I'm ready to FF.
I want to at least have a little bit. I want my opponent to put up at least a little bit of a fight. Because like, when I get in matches where I get fed, I can just one shot everybody. It's no fun anymore. I can't wait to finish the match. I'm trying everything I can to just finish it because it's no fun anymore. Because there's no outplay type stuff. There's no skill checks. It's just you jump in, kill them, and that's it. Not fun
at that
anymore.
point.
And so I want kind of a challenge.
Yeah, I typically go on autopilot when I start just slaughtering the enemy, like
Yeah.
that PvP game on my Smurf the other day. I first time really playing Lee Sin in 7 or 8 years, and I went 20-0. Like it was just autopilot. I wasn't even thinking.
Yeah.
Does anybody in the chat have questions? Question time, any of the good stuff? So, Dio, who do you play top lane?
I have been one-tricking Riven.
Riven, okay. Yami's
Yeah,
a Riven player.
I was
A
doing
lot
I was
of
doing
Riven
Darius.
players in the Discord.
Yeah, I was doing Darius for a while, and then he got a nerf, so I was like, you know what? Let's go back to my babe. And then she's still pretty strong, man. I don't know if she's been nerfed enough, but she's still pretty powerful.
Gotcha. Distract. I am busy. Hold on 1 second.
Riven's been pretty strong for a while now. Like I played League PC. I want to say I started season 2. I can't remember. Whenever Draven came out, and I stopped right when Azir came out. And Riven was strong back then. Like she's always been strong.
I can't play her. Like I know how to play her. I don't feel like I do enough damage with Riven. Same with Irelia. I don't feel like I do enough damage with Irelia either.
Yeah, she's
She's
one of those champions. She's one of those champions that you really have to mix in your basic attacks in between your skills, and it's a part of her kit, kind of like Diana. So if you're used to playing champions where you just rotate and kill the enemy, like it's difficult for you to get used to having to space out your basic attacks in between her abilities.
Yeah. I would also say move them around in different roles. Because when I first got into Aurelia, I tried her top and mid and sucked. I could not win. I could not get kills. I felt like I did no damage. But then I moved to jungle, and it just came so easy, and I felt like it was super easy. And then after playing jungle for a while, once I moved back to mid and top, it felt so easy. Like I could actually feel the damage. I actually knew what was going on. And it's all just about getting comfortable with the champion first before just diving in, thinking you can make a play or do something.
Aliko, did you want to join us in the conversation? Probably not, but that's okay. I don't know, man. I can't do the damage with Riven. I guess that's just my bad mechanics.
I've never actually tried to play Riven.
I think so. What happens when you deal with champions like that is you have to stay above the bar, or ahead of the razor, whatever you want to call it. because if you're not stomping, you kind of fall behind. At least that's what I feel. That's what I feel. Like, people play Lucian top, and if you don't get ahead, or Lucian mid, if you don't play them and stay above that or ahead of that Razor's Edge, then you really fall off compared to other champions that excel in that role. What do you guys think?
Yeah, specifically in Riven's case, she's kind of an assassin. Like, just her kit and everything, like her burst damage. She's kind of like an AD glass cannon. I mean, not super glass cannon like Veigar or anything, but she's not like Olaf. She's not like Aurelia. And so, like, yeah, there's definitely that very fine line where if you aren't steamrolling by late game, you kind of fall off.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Toxic?
You know what? I agree. I would say you need to get ahead. I believe she's really good early. I think my best, like I said, I need her to snowball.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to mid to late game and a team fight start happening, I can't necessarily just be the front line as a top lane, you know, because she's not like
Right.
the tankiest. So my only option would be to split push, or somehow sneak through the back and kill their squishies, and then end the game. But I would say if she's behind, she's pretty bad.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just her kit, I would say.
Gotcha. Okay, so Riven one trick, huh?
Yeah, just for now, just for now. I'm getting kind of bored, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Pick a Vayne.
Bane, I tried it in normals top lane. It was kind of fun.
Teemo.
Oh god, no.
No?
I'm not that toxic. I'm not
Oh,
that toxic.
come on.
I'm not.
Come on. Yami, what's up?
Playing Teemo is a sin.
Well, if we're talking about Riven,
Yeah, I figured you'd want to join.
Yeah.
I agree. Most games, she definitely does need to snowball. But she's not like a useless champion if you can't snowball. You just have to like adapt your play style. If you're, if you're not behind, then you can still like pretty much 1v1 anyone and play like an assassin, jump in on squishies. You have so much CC that if you are behind and you're not like crazy behind, because no champion is useful when they're crazy behind, but if you're only like 1k behind or something, then you can just play and just peel for your mage or your ADC or whatever, just because you have so much CC.
Yeah, you can definitely. She has good hard CC. She can definitely get in and like 5-men stun her second ability, and then follow it up with a knockup, and then hopefully you have a team that can follow up on that.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
Another-
but I never really count on that.
I think Riven
Another
is
thing-
really good because she's so versatile.
Yeah.
It's mobility, like it's great.
Another thing that you could try is sometimes I have to do this as like an AP glass cannon mid, because like I play Brand a lot, and Ari. A lot of times I have to stop myself because I might get a couple kills and then I think that I can engage in a team fight, or something. So a lot of times I'll just dance around the edge of the team fight until people start dropping lower health, and then I go in, and I feel kind of like a scumbag doing it, because people are like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're just kind of going in and cleaning up, but at the same time, now I've got 8 kills and I'm one-shotting anybody with my rotation. Like, you can kind of do that with Riven too, dance around the edge of the team fight if you can't get to their squishies until things have started playing out and they're a lot lower health, and then you can just kind of steamroll through and pick up kills.
Do you guys know like the trick to Riven's Q cooldown?
You mean buffering it so it just resets?
Yeah, to where it's like instead of it being like a 14-second cooldown or whatever, it's like a 5-second cooldown.
I think it's 12.
12? Whatever. One of the numbers. One of the higher numbers.
Well, once you get enough ability haste, you can just have it constantly up.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I guess that's why everybody builds Black Cleaver. Does Black Cleaver still give ability haste?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't play anyone that uses it.
You should play Corky with a Black Cleaver. Mid lane.
I absolutely despise Corky.
Okay, doesn't Corky only do magic damage though?
No, he's
Yes.
hybrid.
Oh, does he?
Yep.
I don't
All his
know if
abilities do
any-
magic damage.
Yeah.
I think his auto attack is hybrid magic and physical.
Okay. Corky's weird because he scales off AD, but he does AP damage.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Kaisa. What are your thoughts on Jace? I kind of mess up my whole melee range abilities. So what do you guys think about Jace right now?
I like him. I played him on PC, so when I downloaded Wild Rift and tried to play him, like just the controls are different, and it's a lot harder to seamlessly transition between the skills. So I don't play him. Same with Zed, but I like him. You know, I've seen people who are good with him. I just don't have the patience to build the skills to really be good with him.
Gotcha. I know myself. I'm getting tired. It's been a long day at work. Archer's over there yawning like a baby. So if you guys are good with it, I'm just gonna go ahead and end the stream. Thank you for everybody coming on. Thank you for everybody stayed and watched the whole thing or tuned in late. Thank you to everybody on YouTube who is going to watch this in the future. If you made it this far, go ahead and subscribe. Hopefully this episode was a lot better. Minus the technical difficulties because I'm an idiot. So other than that, I will see you guys later. Good luck, Justin.
Yeah, definitely.